Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. As we finish up with week 15 and head into week 16, we do have to talk about the wonky weeks of the All-Star break. We will have multiple leagues go from July 7th to July 20th. One of my leagues, well, other than the Cheese Weasels, because that's Roto, it's daily, but the Fantrax League, the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys, will go from July 7th to July 13th, and then July 14th to July 27th, so they will have the wonky weeks just 1 week later. But now we have to talk about week 15, and we're going to go ahead and start with the Kent Murphy Dingers. This week was a little bit closer than it needed to be. I still was able to pull out the win, 5 categories to 4, improving my record to 9 wins, 3 losses, and 2 ties. Good enough for second overall in the league, number 1 in my division, so that's great. However, I said this week was a little closer than it needed to be because I single-handedly gave my opponent wins in ERA and WHIP by Carlos Rodon's poor performance and also Tommy Canley's implosion, giving up like 4 earned runs in the third of an inning or something like that. Some ridiculous stat. But there were some guys that absolutely did great things for me and did allow me to win. Matt Olson and Riley Green both got me at least 2 home runs and 6 RBIs each. Then I had at least 1 home run each from Alec Bohm, Zach Neto, Jose Altuve, Christian Yelich, and Sal Frelick. Then pitching-wise, I had varied ERA and WHIP, but at least 8 strikeouts each from Carlos Rodon, Mr. Hunter Brown, and Brian Wu. And Daniel Palencia got me 2 saves, so that was very helpful. On the other side, I missed 2 home runs from Shea Langeliers and Jose Altuve, and 1 home run from Riley Green and Corey Seager. Also missed a stolen base by Simpson, but it's all good. Not too terrible. However, we got really close to losing batting average, which is why you might call me a coward for this, but it is what it is. I sat both Shea Langeliers and Jacob Wilson. I know Jacob Wilson ended up having 2 hits on Sunday night, but I sat him because my opponent was playing and only had Fernando Tatis left. So I figured if he went 4 for 4 and was able to get 4 hits, I would still win by less than, I want to say like 1/10,000,000th of a point or something like that. However, had I started both Langeliers and Wilson and both of them went 0 for 4, I would have went down and actually lost batting average. So just sat him. So regardless, I won. On the other side, I missed 2 home runs each from Shea Langeliers and Jose Altuve. And I missed 1 home run each from Corey Seager and Riley Green. I also had my ERA blown up, like we talked about before, by Tommy Canley and Carlos Rodon. I also had a pretty bad outing from Dylan Lee, who gave up like 3 earned runs in 1/3 of an inning. So he is the only person that changed on our list of adds and drops this week because he was a drop. We're not putting up with that crap. So again, 9-3-2 heading into week 16, which is going to be the wonky week. So hopefully we come out with another win and just continue on this trend because we have surpassed the number of wins we had last year, but we're not going to be happy with that. We have to continue winning, have to continue to focus on what we're good at, and maybe with the trade deadline coming up, make another trade or 2 to improve our team and still try to help out someone else, unless they send out piss poor trade offers, Next, we're going to move to the Cheese Weasels. Now, this league is still not performing the way we want to, but we're doing a little better. We're in 7th place with 83 points. Not where we want to be, but there's still a good bit of season left. We're going to stay patient through the All-Star break. Then we're going to have to make those tough decisions. Might be time to cut bait with Nolan Arenado. I love him. He's my main man. Really want to have him in all of my leagues, but with the injuries, the age, the lack of performance from the other guys on the team, just not doing it for me. But that's something we'll discuss later. Let's talk about the guys who do well for us. We had gems from the pitching staff this week. We had Matt Boyd get us a win with 5 strikeouts. Brandon Woodruff get us a win with 8 strikeouts. Ryan Nelson get us a win with 7 strikeouts. And Paul Skeens with 2 games this week got us 15 strikeouts with a 0 ERA. So he got us 0 wins as well. Man, the Pirates are bad. God bless America. This week we did great with home runs. We had 3 from Spencer Torkelson and 1 each from Christian Yelich, Sal Frelick, Agustin Ramirez, Zach Neto, and Alec Bohm. Now, despite the home run, Ramirez still only had 2 hits this week, and his batting average was 91. Nope. You heard me right. .091. Just 91. Also, Nolan Arenado was scored, and Marcell Ozuna. So maybe that, I think it's his hip that's hurting him. Maybe that's finally catching up with him along with, his age. But Ozuna has been really performing very well over the last few years. So I guess we were expecting to see a downturn at some point in time. We also had some very poor performances pitching-wise. Drew Rasmussen He went 3 innings. Chad Patrick, you had a cupcake matchup with the Marlins, and you didn't get the win. You got a no decision, which thankfully that was good, but you only went 5 innings and again got a no decision. Come on, man. It was a terrible outing from Tommy Canley. Right now we're sitting in 7th place, like I said, with 83 points. Not where we want to be, but still some baseball left. We're going to have to make some tough decisions after the All-Star break. We're just going to stay patient this next week and, again, make the decisions that are going to help us most, make a strong run towards the end of the season. Next, we're going to move to the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys. Now, this week is the normal week for us, so we have to make sure that we are playing top-notch baseball because we're also going against one of the top teams. We did gain a win this week, 501 to 462. And one of the guys that was talented with us did lose, so we have a 1-game cushion. Let's keep that cushion just in case something crazy happens towards the end of the season. This win did bring us to a 12-3 record, and a big thanks to Jose Altuve, who had 51 points. Lourdes Gurriel had 32, and then we had 7 guys who had 20 points for us. On the other side, Ronald Acuna and Gavin Sheets only had 6 points. What the heck, guys? Then we had 1 point each from Cade Smith and Shane Smith. So the Smith bros, get out of here, or do better, because I kind of need you both. Well, maybe not Shane Smith, but definitely Cade Smith. As we move to the adds and drops, we did add some position players and some pitchers. The pitchers did include Mr. Anthony DeSclafani and Shane Smith. We see how that worked out for us. Then for the position players, Jake Mangum, outfielder for the Rays, and then Otto Lopez, second base and shortstop eligibility for the Marlins. On the other side, guys, we did include Justin Verlander, Carlos Santana, Jose Quintana, and unfortunately it hurt me to do this, but Tyler Mahle. Now, Mahle's going to be out for a little bit longer than what was originally thought. He's going to have to ramp up, and we needed some space because we also have Bailey Obert, which I don't know why I'm still holding him, and Jeremy Pena on the IL. So once IL opens up a little bit more, we might pick Mahle back up, but not pushing anything because right now we're doing pretty well. Not too upset about it. We're going to hop over to the ESPN platform and talk about the Peach Creek Purgatory team, where this week we came up with a big win, 959 to 683. Almost a 300-point lead, 300-point win. Holy moly. Our top performer was George Springer with 67 points, also AL Player of the Week. Then we had 57 points from Matt Olson, which was pretty great. Trey Turner with 50 points. Yoshinobu, our top pitcher, with 44 points. And then, keep in mind, this is a relief pitcher, Gabe Spire. He had 40 points. That means he scored more than 6 of my starting pitchers who had 2 games. Some of them had 2 games. So, Gabe Spire, if you're in a points league, pick that guy up. Plays for the Mariners. On the other side, we had Ronald Acuna getting us only 14 points. Man, you're usually your top scorer. What the heck happened? Wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Let's step it up, man. It's just not the time to be laying down on the job. Then we had Clay Holmes only gets 8 points. That's not great. Then, come on, man. Dean Kramer, he had a bad game. He only got us 3 points. And then Dietrich Enns absolutely got throttled by the Nationals. He got us -6. No, that's not good. Also, we missed big games from Christian Walker, Joe Boyle. Who knew he was going to pitch? I didn't, but I mean, I guess I should have assumed it because I did pick him up. Also, Jason Dominguez and George Springer. So George Springer was our leading scorer with 67, and I missed his 20 or 30 point game. So, holy crap, he easily could have had us 90 points. Good Lord. Now as we move to the adds and drops, we picked up Joe Boyle, Chad Patrick, who absolutely crapped the bed, Dietrich Enns, who also crapped the bed, Tyler Alexander, who is a sneaky good pick. I know he plays for the White Sox, but he's going to come in, do decently well for us. I mean, he might get blown up 1 game or 2, but hey, man, he's a sneaky pick. He's not going to use my start, so that's good. The last guy we picked up was Josh Robleski. Robleski. However you say his last name. Anyway, he was a bulk innings guy for the Dodgers, and I mean, if he's going to be picking up wins for me, I'll take those free wins, right? Anyway, he was optioned down, so he's no longer a use to us. The drops did include Emerson Hancock because he was optioned down, Dietrich Enns because he did bad, and Stephen Kolek because he was optioned down. After this big win, we are sitting at 13-2, but we cannot be complacent. We cannot be happy with that. We have to continue winning, and I feel confident we will. Can't let silly distractions like Yoshinobu getting absolutely blown up yesterday after throwing 40-plus pitches in the first inning, not even finishing the first inning, and getting us -14 points. Can't let that deter us because we wasted a start on you. Next thing we're talking about is the South Harmon Institute of Technology. This week we did win 8 categories, 7 categories, or 3 categories. However, I am so frustrated, so unbelievably frustrated, because again, my pitching blew up and gave away 4 categories. Thank you to Cade Smith, Shane Smith, and Tommy Canley. You gave away blown saves, ERA, whip, and losses. It absolutely should have been us getting 12 category wins, but no. I wanted to lollygag and fiddle fart around. Yes, we're still winning. We won with 128 wins total with 93 losses and then 49 ties. But that shouldn't matter, because remember last year, we lost by half a game in both leagues to go to the playoffs. So literally every game counts. So stop doing that stupid crap. Now I'll talk about some of our top performers. We did have Mr. Matt Olson get 16 total bases, 2 home runs, and 6 RBIs. We also had Yanier Diaz finally coming to life with 15 total bases, 2 home runs, and only 3 RBIs. Let's get some ducks on the pond there, bud. Eugenio Suarez with 14 total bases, 3 home runs, and 5 RBIs, so a little better, but still, let's get some ducks on the pond. And then Francisco Lindor, Brent Rooker, and Sal Frelick each had at least 10 total bases, 1 home run, and 2 RBIs. Now, some of them had 4 or 6 RBIs, but all of them had at least 2 RBIs. We also had really good pitching outings from Brandon Woodruff, which was his first start of the season, and I mean, he had a shoulder injury, then a toe injury, then he got hit in the arm or something like that, so coming back from it all, so that's a good outing. Also, Nick Pivetta and Christopher Sanchez, exactly what we've come to expect from those two. On the opposite side of performance-wise, we had poor performances from Bryce Terang, Gavin Sheets, and Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman got hurt a little later in the week, so that's probably the reason for him. We also had bad outings from Tommy Canley and Cade Smith, and a terrible start from Mr. Shane Smith. So hopefully those 3 guys can find their life, if they're even still on their team after this week, and, you know, do better for me. Let's move to the ads and drops. We added Max Scherzer and Shane Smith and dropped Jared Koenig, Max Scherzer, and Gavin Sheets because we had to activate Brandon Woodruff. Right now sitting at 128 wins, 93 losses, and 49 ties. Sounds good. However, do not want to be complacent. Want to continue to look for ways to improve the team with ads, cut some dead weight with drops, and also figure out if there are any trade partners out there. I have some really good players who I would kind of like to offload pitching-wise because, again, I'm sticking with the holds and saves, low ERA, low whip, sticking with that attitude and sticking with as few main pitchers I can get because we're whiffing on strikeouts. We're trying to get the best pitcher so we can pick up a few wins and maybe get lucky and, you know, find some relief wins there. So want to continue to make sure we scour the waiver wire. Been some trades and some big ads and drops this, you know, past week or two with some of the teams. So we have to make sure that we scoop up when we can, and again, cut the dead weight when it becomes unnecessary. The last team we're talking about is the Russell My Jim Jams team, which was a good week for us. We won 9 categories to 5 categories to 2 categories. However, we absolutely gave away the extra base hits because we sat Hunter Goodman because he was supposed to go to the IL, and so we missed the 2 home runs, which were extra base hits, obviously. So we could have been 10 category winners, but it is what it is, whatever. But now we're going to talk about the guys who did do well for us because they were in our lineup. Jose Altuve, 6 extra base hits, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. What's up, man? Lourdes Gurriel, 5 extra base hits, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs. And Brandon Nimmo, oh God, he hit a grand slam against my Yankees this weekend, and that hurt my heart. But he did have 4 extra base hits, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, and for good measure, 2 stolen bases. We also had good outings again from Nick Pivetta and Christopher Sanchez, as expected. And we had several players who were cold at the plate. Gavin Sheets, Nate Lowe, Logan O'Hoppe, Otto Lopez, Helio Ramos, and Hunter Goodman. You know, when I did start him, he did well when I didn't, but that's my luck. And then, as though I haven't said it once before, we had bad outings from Tommy Canley and Cade Smith and Luke Weaver. Come on, dog. What is going on with you? We had no ads and drops for this week, but we did have a drop in standings. Last week, we moved all the way up to 2nd. This week, we are now down to 4th. Technically, it's a 3-way tie for 2nd place, so I guess I'm in 2nd place, but they put me in 4th. I don't know. In any case, with a record of 112, 89, and 39, we definitely have to make sure we're winning games. Last year in this league, we only won 138 games, so we're well on our way to doing better, but again, there's still a lot of time for us to mess up. Still a ton of time for us to screw this up, not make playoffs, and then go cry in the corner. But we're not going to do that At least I don't want to. So we have to make sure we continue to do well and win games. Now that we've recapped the teams, let's move to the guys I think you should add. This is going to be a wonky week for most of us because we're going to have this full week and then half a week next week, which could be positive if we need to make a comeback, or it could be negative because it's like, oh my gosh, we pulled out some wins in major categories, but oh gosh, we still have 4 games left, and that could be terrible. Or you could be on the other side and have half of the week next week and then a full week. So again, I'm not sure which one I like. I wouldn't want it to be one long week, one short week, one long week, even though I did win that way in week 1 for the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys. But it doesn't matter. These next few weeks are going to be important because even though the weeks are longer, you might not get more ads in your league. So you have to make the most of them. You don't want to hit Monday and think, oh, I'm getting a new set of ads, and you don't. So now you're stuck and you're going to fall flat on your face like I do on Saturdays and Sundays because there's no one to add and no one to replace on guys that may not be sitting or may not be hitting or may not be playing or, doing poorly for you. But these are guys I think you should add, and we're going to focus on pitching because, well, let's be real. If you can get one guy to have 3 starts for you over a span of 2 weeks and they're doing pretty decent, might not be bad. Now, the first guy I'm going to talk about, only want to start him this weekend because he plays against the Pirates, Simeon Woods Richardson. Now, I do not trust this man as far as I can throw him. He's a pretty big man, so I probably can't throw him that far. But again, he gets the Pirates on Sunday. Great way to end the week and potentially look forward to what you can do the last 4 days of next week. Another guy I think you should add is Ryan Nelson. Not like Pork Rind, like Ryan Sandberg. He has a pretty good matchup this weekend with the Angels. Outside of Zach Neto and Nolan Schanuel, maybe Joe Waddell, even though I'm not really worried about him, that's a pretty soft lineup. And you might say, whoa, what about Mike Trout? It hurts my heart to say, but not too terribly worried about it anymore. Yes, he's still a good player, but definitely not doing Mike Trout type stuff. But anyway, Ryan Nelson, Simeon Woods Richardson, great ways to end your week. Another pitcher I think you should add this week, Nick Martinez. He has 2 golden matchups, the Marlins early in the week and the Rockies later in the week. The only bad part, they're both at Great American Ballpark, so the ball is gonna fly. I also am not too terribly worried about those lineups. However, with some of the guys like Otto Lopez, my boy Xavier Edwards, Josh Stowers, those are the Marlins, in case you didn't know. And then the Rockies, let's be real. Got Tyler Freeman, who's hitting 300, but not really doing a whole lot stat-wise. And Hunter Goodman. That's about it. While we're on the subject of Reds pitchers, Brady Singer, also same matchups. Now, Brady Singer is not as sexy as Nick Martinez, or hasn't been. Also giving up a lot of walks. But, I mean, other than the fact that both of them will be pitching Great American Ballpark, so the ball could very well be flying, those are 2 great pickups to hopefully boost ERA, boost whip, get a few strikeouts here and there, and fingers crossed, get you some wins. If anything, no decisions, right? That's what you're hoping for if you're in the losses league. Last starting pitcher I'm going to talk about when it comes to starts this week, it's only going to be a 1 start, but it is my boy, Dean Kremer. He did have a poor performance last week. I'm pretty sure it was against the Yankees, so you kind of expected that. But he does have the Marlins this Friday, so definitely look at picking him up. I will be starting him in my lineups because as bad as that Orioles offense has looked, they still have some pretty good guys. They still have some pretty good hitters. So hopefully they can find some life and at least give Dean Kremer another win. Now we move to relievers. And unfortunately, the Diamondbacks have another guy on IL. First it was AJ Puk. Then it was Justin Martinez. Now it's Shelby Miller. So who's going to be the next guy to look at? Kevin Ginkel. I will not trust Kevin Ginkel ever again. Between him and Scott McGough, they screwed me so bad last year, so I highly doubt I'm picking them up. If you're really desperate, the Phillies bullpen is in shambles. Ryan Belta, Kerkering, and then Jordan Romano still doing terrible. Matt Strahm and his Nicolas Cage looking self might be the best guy in that bullpen. This next guy is going to be kind of a surprise. He was great a few years ago, fell off the face of the last 2 years, and has come back to his own because he had some competition from Dennis Santana. Yeah. David Bednar. The Pirates went on like a 6-game win streak and had like 30 innings not scored upon, and then they promptly got swept this weekend. But still, like, David Bednar? Holy cow, dude. If you can get back to half of what you were doing with your, 39 saves 2 or 3 years ago, yeah, dude, That's definitely serviceable when the Diamondbacks went through 3 closers already. I mean, can't be worse than them, right? That's going to do it for the people I think you should add. Already talked about the recaps, so I am looking forward to this All-Star break. I'm going to be watching the Futures game. I'm going to be watching the Home Run Derby, which I hate having my guys in the Home Run Derby. It has messed up every single one of their swings, and I think Acuna's in it. My buddy has Cal Raleigh. I hate the fact that Cal's in it because he is on a historic pace. Why screw this up? So I really, really hate that. If I have to pick someone who's going to win, I'm going to go with an outlier like Byron Buxton because he's finally healthy. So he's finally going to be hitting, shoot, win the Home Run Derby, and then get hurt like the first week back. Yep, that sounds about right. And of course, I think the AL is going to win the All-Star game. So let's make sure we check this out, revisit this in, I might go 2 weeks because we have the All-Star break and then we'll have the short and long week. So it might be 2 weeks before we post another video. But in any case, I appreciate every one of you who watch this, every one of you who contribute in any way, shape, or form. But in any case, this is J-Cake. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.